Hello and welcome to the Next Minute podcast, where love outlives loss. So on the podcast, we're opening up the conversation around grief and mental health, with no filters and no stigma. Every episode brings open, honest stories of struggle, resilience and hope, because even when life feels heavy, there's always light trying to break through. Definitely didn't get that off ChatGPT, but it is the intro going forward. So I wanted to talk today about the last episode. I recorded it only 2 days ago. I think it's Monday now. I recorded it on Saturday, and I was talking to my brother about it, and I said I just felt flat doing it. And I'm quite a round guy, so feeling flat is a bit weird for me. But yeah, I just felt just heavy, just felt down. I think it was the weight of the anniversary coming up, which is today. And I think I purposely did it close to the anniversary because I wanted to show that raw emotion, that raw feeling around the days before the anniversaries. Because I always say they feel a lot heavier than the actual date itself. So when I recorded it, I felt like I wasn't delivering the same quality of content that I usually do. Just because I didn't feel right on myself. I felt low. I felt like I wasn't doing things right, and I just felt very, just in that state where you're just beating yourself up. You don't feel like you're doing anything right. But I still wanted to record it to give you that raw experience of what I feel like during those days, the days leading up to anniversaries. And I think that came through, but probably came through a bit more than I was hoping or expecting to, because it just didn't feel like how I normally record episodes. I feel usually I'm upbeat, I'm more positive, but it just felt like when I listened to it back, and even when I was recording it, it just felt very flat and low and not my usual self. And that I suppose that's why I did want to record it that way. I mean, one of the telltale signs for me is when I watched it back, I realised there's some dirty balls in the background. Now, I work in this office, I game in this office. The kids are in here constantly, so there's usually sweet wrappers, bowls, that are there through the day, and then I take them out at night. And I usually do that before record. And I know seeing them balls in the background, I was like, oh, definitely wasn't feeling myself then. And I'm not saying I've done that tonight. Tonight I've just shifted them forward so you can't see them on camera. But a little bit more switched on today. But today, like I said, it's 7th anniversary. And that's probably one thing I wanted to touch on, because even saying it's our 7th anniversary, or saying it would have been our 7th anniversary, neither of them feel right, for different reasons. So saying it's our 7th anniversary kind of feels like not necessarily a lie, but it doesn't also feel like it is, because she's not with us. But at the same time, it is our 7th anniversary. I've not stopped loving her. It's, to me, it is our anniversary, and the wording of it just feels weird around it for some reason. Like saying it should have been or would have been feels disrespectful to her. But also saying it is feels like it's untrue, and it's not. I'm not accepting it. So neither feel right, but at the same time, they both do feel right for different reasons. It's a weird one. I'm no expert on it. I've been doing this widow shit for 5 years. Doesn't get any clearer. And I suppose any widow will tell you the same. I suppose it just feels whatever feels right to you. I suppose in the moment, different wording will feel right or won't feel right. But I was speaking to my mum about it earlier on as well. She kind of mentioned it as well, and I said to her, you know, if she's writing something, I know she's not writing certain phrases or words to be disrespectful. She's doing what she feels right. So I've tried to tell her not to overthink things, but I know my mum, and she'll definitely overthink it, even though I've told her not to. But it's just one of those things, you know. Whenever anybody's talking to you, they'll have those same feelings like, oh, how do I say this? How do I say that? Just say it however feels natural to you. And if it ends up, you know, being taken the wrong way, then that's not necessarily on you. And I'm sure whoever it is will have, you know, a positive conversation with you about it. But yeah, I feel like we'll never understand what's right or what's wrong. But yeah, today I suppose started off the same. It was started off very flat. I didn't book it off work. Obviously the kids are in school as well, so I just kind of started the day with the means just to get through it. You know, didn't have anything particular planned, other than obviously the Starbucks. Now what I did plan to do was originally, I wanted to go to Starbucks on my lunch and stay there and work till for a couple of hours, just until I had to pick the kids up from school. But anxiety sort of crept in and got the better of me. I was kind of worried about how people would look at me, just sat at a table on my own in Starbucks. You know, and just started overthinking things as usual. So I kind of threw that idea out the window. And then I thought I'll just go for a walk, take the dog out on my lunch instead. I'll do that. But then, because I know a few people on the estate, obviously know my widow, and thinking about it now, like, they don't know when my anniversary is. But I convinced myself if I go out on my lunch and just have a little walk around the estate, that somebody's going to stop me and say, oh, happy anniversary, or give me some form of sympathy that would sort of take me back into a bit of a hole. So I convinced myself not to bother doing that. So instead I pretty much just worked through my lunch. I sorted my dinner out and then just sort of came back upstairs and carried on with work. I didn't really have one. And then, yeah, just started beating myself up after that, you know. Like, why would I not do what I had planned? Why would I convince myself not to do those things when in reality nobody would care whether I'm sat there on my own at a table in Starbucks. Nobody would bother that I'm going out for a walk on my lunch. They're all normal things, you know. Many people do those things, so it's just that poison parrot that I mentioned a few episodes ago. Just start with that negative self-talk and doubting yourself, and convince yourself that you shouldn't do the things that you have planned because it won't go right. And that creeps in quite often. It's a constant battle, to be honest. But the key thing is I'm definitely winning more of those battles than I am losing now. Except today, I got beat up today. But after doing that, and after having a bit of a word with myself, I'd said, right, no matter what, I'll get the kids from school, finish work, and then I'll head to Starbucks with them. But even then, once I'd done that, I started to convince myself, well, I'll leave here at 5. I've got to be at Andy's Man Club for about 6:30 to set up and stuff. So I started trying to talk myself out of it again. Even to the point where I'd said to the kids, oh, should we just go through the drive-through and that kind of stuff. So I still planned on going, just not going in. And I thought, do you know what, if I'm a little bit late to the club tonight, the lads are more than, you know, capable of running it without me. He's done it many times before. And If I'm late or I don't go, it's not going to make a world of difference. There's plenty to cover. So I stopped using it as an excuse to change the plans. I had a bit of a word with myself again. And you know what? That plan to go to Starbucks with the kids, it got me through the rest of the day. I was looking forward to it, where I've been feeling flat, like I said, for the last few days with the build up to the anniversary. Feeling flat this morning, and then probably feeling a little bit worse because I'd not done what I'd planned, and I let anxiety win a few battles. But yeah, having that plan got me through, and it was brilliant. We nipped to the shop beforehand so we could stock up on sugar for the kids, and then went to Starbucks. Ordered Taylor's coffee, as we always do, skinny, sugar-free caramel latte. Ordered my drink. The kids got 2 waters, which Taylor would be cursing them for. Kids got some biscuits, cookies. Typically, Cole didn't like his, so he had a nibble, and then didn't want them. So that was, I don't know, about a mortgage worth of biscuits wasted. But I actually took them to AMC tonight. Just forgot to take them in. I'll try and remember to do that next week. But yeah, we had loads of fun. We just sat there. Kids didn't go on the devices, so we just sat there having a chat. To one point where the whole room was empty. There was probably, I think, two people or 2 sets of people in there, sat on opposite sides of the room. One of them was like a young family with a baby, and the kids decided to sit next to the baby. And then Cole just started talking about, just going on one of his rambles. Then he's talking about, he went, "Dad, do you think that baby knows karate?" I don't know, pal. Like, if it does, I'll throw him through a window. I was like, just kind of laughed it off. And then he went, "Dad, what if that baby's the boss baby? If he is, I'm going to throw him through a window." Then I was like, right, let's stop talking about throwing that kid through a window when his parents are sat right there. And then we had, obviously we had Taylor's coffee, and I think I said to the kids, like, when it cools down, do you want a sip? Just so they could taste, obviously, what Taylor would drink. They'd done it before, just had like a little sip of it. Like, I don't think Cole liked it, and I think Elijah liked it too much, so we had to sort of wean him off it. But Elijah turned around and said, "Oh, Dad, why'd you buy Mum a coffee? Like, why'd you buy a drink?" I said, "Oh, just always did do on our anniversaries. And she loves Starbucks, so it just feels like the right thing to do." just out of nowhere, he went, "You do know she can't drink it because she's dead, right?" And I couldn't help but laugh, just like that pure, innocence. And it felt weirdly nice because he has been struggling lately, which I've talked about. But for him to talk openly about it was kind of nice. But yeah, just the sheer innocence and how spontaneous it seemed just had me in stitches. We had a really nice time. It was one of those things that we usually do. It's a nice tradition for us. And like I said, looking forward to it got me through the day. I don't know if I was looking forward to the coffee or just the symbolism of it, but yeah, just got me through. Like I said, I had a great time with the kids. And then dropped them off at the nan's, my mum's, and then off to Andy's Man Club. Now, I've spoken about Andy's Man Club. For those who don't know, in fact, I'm wearing the hoodie. It's fresh from there tonight. I've also got my sticker on as well. I think that was one from Koa. This afternoon, after I picked him up from school, I said to him, "Oh, have you got a sticker for, pal?" Thinking he'd done something good, and it turned out his friend had got it, and his friend didn't want it, so his friend gave it to him. But typical goer. We went to Andy's Man Club. After obviously dropping the kids off, and then it was weird because like I felt good, and then when I was on my way there, I kind of started not panicking, but it started to feel heavy again. But I think it was because I knew I was going to be going there to obviously talk about the grief side of things, which is usually fine, but for some reason it got me feeling a bit anxious going there today, which was quite silly really because it always helps. But yeah, as soon as I got there, seeing the lads in the car park, I felt reassured again. I know what to expect there, obviously, and for those who don't know, it's a men's peer-to-peer support group. So it's for any man or any person who identifies as a man over the age of 18. It's dead simple. There's 5 questions. The first 3 are always the same. How's your week been? A positive or highlight from the week. And then question 3, which is the main one, anything you want to get off your chest. So for me, I talked about it being an alright week. I passed my probation at work. Talked about feeling a bit flat and a bit low towards the end of the week with the build up to the anniversary. And I'd had pretty much a good weekend with the kids. Question 2, which is a positive or highlight from the week. I talked about gaming over the weekend with the kids. All 3 of us, I think we were on Roblox most of the time. When they could get out, when Storm Amy wasn't battering my bins around, the kids were out playing, but when they were inside, they wanted to play games with me. So we did that. And it was just a really, really nice moment. All 3 of us playing, one game. No arguing, no fighting. It was just, it was bliss for what it was. It was just nice and simple. And I think it was just exactly what I needed. It was something that took my mind off things. I could hear them both laughing, helping each other, which was, lovely to see. Cole was struggling to do something, so he goes and helps his brother, asks his brother for help. That was nice. And then I won't lie, there was a point on one of the games where I was struggling to jump this gap, and I was getting annoyed. I was just like, Elijah, you're gonna have to do this bit for me. And it was literally just jumping from one side to another. For some reason, I couldn't do it, and I was just like, "Oh, I'm gonna quit this game." And then I ended up just turning to my 7-year-old for help on a very basic game. But I got through it. That was the main thing. But yeah, just a really lovely weekend. So that was my question 2. And question 3, I just talked about the, struggling with the grief, talking about Taylor. And that's kind of what I was expecting to talk about, but as I was talking, I also realised that this year, and it's probably been the same for the last couple of years, each year I've handled it better than the previous year, and that felt the same this year. Even though I didn't do what I'd set out to do, in terms of like going to Starbucks on my lunch, then changing that to go for a walk, I still got through the day, and I got through it better than I usually would do. I had one moment in the morning where I felt really low. I was just about to join a meeting at work. For some reason, I just got really overwhelmed. I joined the meeting, and then a couple of minutes in, I couldn't really talk, so I just ended up just leaving the meeting, and then I felt embarrassed for leaving because I didn't say anything, just purely because I couldn't. And I just left. It was only a meeting that usually lasts a couple of minutes anyway. And I probably could have got away with just going on mute and not saying anything, but for some reason I just got really overwhelmed with all those emotions of grief, and I don't know if it was just because I was hearing other people, it made me feel like other people are in the room, so leaving the meeting was the best solution for me to try and recenter myself. But yeah, like I said, I felt embarrassed for doing it, so I didn't end up messaging anybody after to say up. I think I just dropped them a message 10-15 minutes later and said, oh, sorry, my internet dropped. But yeah, that's just all the anxiety. I feel like if I had said something, there would have been a negative reaction. But in reality, I know there wouldn't have been. It's just that negative self-talk and that belief that you have of yourself, of how people look at you when you're struggling, or you might need help. But in reality, you wouldn't get the responses that you think that you would, or you convince yourself that you would. So yeah, tonight at the club was just very much just reflecting on actually, I've handled today well. I've handled it better than the last few years. Like I said, that's despite not doing what I'd planned. I still got through it. Of course, I had a wobble. No, of course that's going to happen, but I handled that as well. I got through the day and ended up having a really good day. And I can feel it. I can feel how much more positive and more like myself I feel. Because I've opened up, because I've spoke about Taylor, because I've spoke about those feelings of grief, and because I've had that chance to reflect. And I think that's massive, because it's helped me to feel proud of myself for getting through the day. The questions 4 and 5, so at Andy's Man Club, they change each week. Question 4 this week was, I'm going to have to get it up because I don't want to get it wrong. So these questions are usually designed to be a bit reflective, but also kind of prompt conversations within the group. A little bit lighter. Question 3 can get heavy sometimes, but by the time you finish question 5, 9 times out of 10 you're just laughing and joking with the guys there. And it's a simple 5-question setup, but it works, and it works really well. So question 4 was, you can live in any film, book or story. Where are you and why? So for me, with it being our anniversary today, I had to pick The Nightmare Before Christmas. Obviously Taylor's favourite film. And if I picked anything else, maybe other than Peter Pan, it should have definitely been haunting me tonight. So I picked the safe option. Today, yeah, definitely Nightmare Before Christmas. Any other day I probably would have picked Lord of the Rings. But she'd probably still batter me for that. And then the last one was quickfire. What everyday thing makes you smile or laugh? So for me, and for a lot of the people there, it was our kids. And just plain and simple, some of the stuff they come out with, like mentioned Elijah today with talking about, why do I get the coffee, she can't drink it because she's dead. Koa comes out with some absolute crackers sometimes. Like at the minute, if something's unbelievable or something happens, he'll just turn around and go, what, the biscuits? Or, oh, biscuits. Just out of nowhere. No idea where he's got it from, but that's like his thing at the minute. And then calling me bro as well. That somebody else mentioned that tonight, and that their daughter calls him bro, and like both of them do it, but Koa does it a lot more. Even just waking him up in the morning for school, like, oh bro, is it school today? I'm your dad, don't call me bro. But then I find myself sometimes where I'll be talking to them and I'll just inadvertently call them bro. Like, come on bro, it's time to get up. I'm just like, why have I just said that? Like, encouraging them to do the same. But yeah, that's kind of the format of Andy's Man Club. We'll do a bit of a deeper dive into Andy's Man Club on another episode. That's just an overview of how a night runs. I thought I'd sort of get that in there tonight because it's helped me massively. Not just tonight, but the last 2.5 years I've been going. There's countless stories and reasons why people are there. But for every reason someone's there, there's also that highlight and that light from them as to why they're still going. You know, it's helped them, and even people who've stopped going because they've been helped by it. And like I said, it's just simple. You answer 5 questions, and you don't even have to answer them all if you don't want to talk. You just pass the ball on. There's absolutely no pressure. It works. It's worked for you for 2.5 years. It's got me to the point where I am today, where I can handle days like this, anniversaries, where, you know, the build-up's always hard, because I think a lot of that's just my anxiety of thinking that the day is going to be a lot worse, because it's our anniversary, so I'm going to be feeling low, so then I feel low because I'm anticipating myself feeling low. But I always say on the day it's never as bad as the days leading up to it. But yeah, going to Andy's Man Club tonight has massively helped. It's been timed nicely that it's on the same day. Spending time with the kids in Starbucks and doing our usual ritual of getting Taylor a Starbucks, even though she can't drink it. But yeah, I thought it's worth getting that in there. We'll make sure we've got a guest on soon who can come in and talk about it properly and in more depth, give a bit of background to it, why it's up and running, and just hear somebody else's voice other than mine for once. So we'll leave the episode here. I've had a really positive day, even though it didn't start out well. And we've got, like I mentioned it before, we've got a few guests lined up, so we'll make sure they're recorded in the coming weeks. And other than that, just a massive thank you to everyone again who's been following, listening, subscribing. If you do need to reach out for any support or resources, drop me a message or leave a comment, whichever you feel more comfortable doing. And I'll ping you resources that you're looking for. Obviously, I always mention the Hub of Hope, which is essentially just a directory of mental health support, which can be localised to your area, and also drilled down into specific things that you're struggling with, whether it's anxiety, PTSD, suicidal thoughts. It allows you to sort of drill down into those specifics as well. So thanks again to everyone for listening, tuning in, downloading, or watching if you're on YouTube or Spotify. As always, you can give us a like, follow, subscribe, share, all that usual stuff on the socials. And remember, you can get through the next minute. Thank you.